here with filmmaker Ed Gutentag. How did you get into the film business?
I didn't know you were going to ask me that. How did I get into the film business? I willed myself. I started in photography, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I was working for my dad. My dad had a deli and a bakery in a pretty big suburban town in New Jersey, and I had quit school because one of my teachers told me that he said, "Don't take it personally. Your work is good, but you'd be better off getting a job in New York City with a photographer," because I went to school for photography. And a friend that I went to high school with told me when we were in high school, shared with me that his dad sold strobe units to all the big time photographers in New York City. Richard Avedon and Francesco Scavullo and all the really big time guys, and then just regular photographers also. So he came in the store, and I'd never met him before, but I thought for some reason I should ask if this. I said, "Are you Larry Farrell?" "Yeah, yeah." "Oh, Larry, I'm friends with your son, and he told me that you sell photography equipment, and maybe you can help me find a photographer to work for." And he goes, "Sure." And the next week I was in New York City. I was 19 years old, and I started working for this photographer, and that was it. That was the start. And so it was photography first.
Did you learn a lot from that initial photographer you were working for?
I learned so much from that guy, and really less about photography and more about life. And I have recently reconnected with him after 35 years. It's a pretty cool story. And because I would call my dad or my uncles, for advice, and they're all gone. And we reconnected. I found him on the internet last year, and we talk almost every day now. And he was the type of guy, he was a real New Yorker, and he didn't, like, how some people just kind of push your buttons or they're passive aggressive. This guy would just cut right to the bone. He would say to me, I had to deliver something once to a big ad agency, and he said to me, "You need to bring this to Katie and make sure you hand it to Katie." So I go and I deliver this package, and I'm 19 and I'm walking through New York, and I go into this building, and it was the only ad agency that actually had security. And this was back in 1977. They had security, and they wouldn't let me in. And so I handed it to the security guy, and I came back, and he goes, "Did you give it to Katie?" And I said, No, they wouldn't let me in." He goes, "Get over here. Let me tell you something." He goes, "This is New York City." He says, "You walk around like you own this city." He says, "When you go in there," he goes, "Does the guy have a name tag?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You look at his name and you go, 'Hey, Joe,' and you keep walking." And the next time I went in, I went, "Hey, Joe," and I kept walking, and he waved to me, and I handed it to Katie.
Wow, and have you been doing that ever since?
Ever since. Some people think I'm pretty obnoxious, actually.
What did he think of your work that you've been doing all these years? You've done a lot of cinematography and photography. Does he approve?
Very proud, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool, because it's like your child has gone off and, has 35 years. I mean, I was surprised. It was funny, because when I called him, he said he had a cold, and I didn't know it. And he was completely shocked that I found him. And he says, "By the way, I'm not dying. I just have a cold."
So currently you're transitioning a little bit. Tell me a bit about that. How's it going?
It's good. I make my living as a cinematographer, but I started a blog. A friend of mine passed away who was he was an amazing filmmaker, and I wanted to do something to honor his life. So I started a blog called Digital Cinema for Dummies.blogspot.com. So I started, just writing stuff like, what's a compact flash card and stuff like that. And then that sort of waned, and I started another blog called ShootMoviesInCalifornia.com, because a lot of the work in California was leaving and was affecting the economy. And then I realized that with good content and learning about social media, that you could really create a following if you put the right stuff out there. So I'm currently hoping to launch at the end of March. It's probably not going to be until the end of April, a online video magazine called MovieTimesMagazine.com. And basically what Movie Times Magazine is for people, the best way to explain it is it's a combination of Charlie Rose, who's an American interviewer. I don't know if you guys have seen him. Charlie Rose meets Inside the Actors Studio, meets 60 Minutes, with a little bit of Ralph Edwards' This Is Your Life mixed in, which you probably have no idea what that is. And, it's basically like I sit with anybody that touches film in any way, and they tell their story. They don't talk about like the movie that's coming out next week. They talk about why they're passionate and, if they got fired and how that affected them, or, they talk about why they do what they do. And yeah, so it's interviews. We're going to release one every week, and so essentially I'm directing those, producing those. Sometimes these guys help me shoot them, um, and it's all web based, and the internet. What I'm finding is that most people want to look at video as opposed to read something, and which is good, bad, whatever. But it's like DJ was saying about how. What were you saying in my interview that how it's so most people are using video. Hmm. Yeah, you could just connect with people so much better. And what I say about my site is that you can. I basically said the same thing where in different words I said that you really get to know somebody when you see them. And you see body language as opposed to reading an article, and you get to you see their face, and when somebody's kind of faking it or they're not,
So is this sort of a video library for filmmakers? Is it just videos, and is it just going to be categorized in some way?
Yeah, it's yes, essentially it's for everybody, but I imagine that it's going to be pretty popular with filmmakers because it's interesting. I mean, one of the reasons why I started is because I used to actually sit with filmmakers when I was on the set, and I'd go, "Hey, how did you start?" Or, "What was your first acting job?" Or, "How hard did you ever want to quit?" Or, "Did you ever yell at?" Just questions, and people are just interested in talking about that stuff.
And doing these interviews, have you learned a lot so far?
Oh yeah, it's pretty amazing because I mean I've interviewed specifically two older people in the industry, and they got really emotional about a couple of things, and it was fascinating because you think that some of these people are just sort of untouchable. They don't maybe want to talk to you. They don't want to share information, and it's really the opposite. It's quite the opposite. And you think that they're the most secure people in the world, and it's not that they're insecure, but they're just people too, and it's they have the same problems or bigger ones than we do. And it just gives you inspiration to keep on marching forward.
And on that note, where can we expect to find the website? Can you tell me the URL again?
Yeah, it'll be MovieTimesMagazine.com. And once again, I'm hoping, I don't know when this is going to air, but hopefully it's up when this airs, and it drives some traffic, and yeah, it should be interesting.
Well, thank you so much, Ed, and best of luck with the interviews.
Well, thank you, Katie. Best of luck with yours.
Thanks. I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for TTNHD Production Live. Cool. Thank you so much for watching Katie Chats. If you like the show, please subscribe. And if you're curious to know what I'm doing when I'm not interviewing, please click here. I'm also an actress and recently produced my first short film and would love for you to check out the trailer. Thank you.